So, lots of people read Fahrenheit 451 for school. I was not one of those people. The dystopias that we read were 1984 and Handmaid's Tale. Well, I didn't read Handmaid's Tale, but it was an option. But for testing reasons, I didn't read Handmaid's Tale. I like 1984. It's a good book. It's very dystopian. Took me a second to understand everything, but I like it. I have also read I cannot remember the first name of the dude, but I know that his last name is Bergman. Something about like if you have really good skills, then they like give you something to take away from the good skill. That book I've read. I've read The Giver for this channel and stuff like that. Fahrenheit 451, I have tried to read 3 times and I never make it past page 22. Yeah, so I also just didn't absorb any of it. I'm not entirely sure what this has to do with book burning. I know that they burn books, but I'm not. Maybe it's because I haven't read the whole book that I missed the commentary. I'm not going to bother telling you what happens in this book because, frankly, even with these notes here, I still don't remember really what happened. So instead, I'm going to talk about something else because this book makes me cross-eyed. Writing can serve a lot of purposes. And in my opinion, maybe this is wrong of me, but in my opinion, fiction's primary purpose is to entertain people. Like, if you're writing nonfiction, you don't have to be entertaining. You can just, here are the facts, here you go. Who gives a shit? I don't care if you like it or not. But when you're writing fiction, you need something that draws people in and gets them to keep reading. And I feel like I've made that plenty clear over the last several hundred books that I have read. Probably not several hundred, but few hundred. This book, I don't feel propelled forward by wanting to know what happens. Like, it doesn't feel like I'm learning about society. It just feels like Montag and Clarice and his wife. And I'm missing all of the social commentary and what? I don't know what Clarice is supposed to represent or anything like that. To teach, to inform, and to entertain. If you do not entertain me, I don't care about what you're trying to teach me. There's another book that I read that's kind of similar to this. This is going to be a very short video. There's another book that I read that was kind of similar to this one. It was called Fairy Queen. Fairy Queen was written by some pretentious asshole during the English Renaissance. And that book, oh my God, I think I was told that he purposefully wrote it in Middle English, and whenever there was a word that he couldn't figure out in Middle English, he just made it up. What the fuck? No, there's so much symbolism in that book, and I believe he said that he wanted his readers to have to think about what they were reading as they were reading it. No! What sucks is that the story of Fairy Queen is actually pretty cool. There's a lot of monster hunting in Fairy Queen. A snake lady gets her head cut off. There's a dragon. There are witches. It's really cool. I don't mind symbolism as long as I can read your story. Like, The Great Gatsby, I liked that book until in my English class when we had to tear it apart with all of the symbolism. What? I don't mind deep symbolism. I don't mind surface level symbolism. Maybe I just don't like the way Ray Bradbury writes. I do have a list of authors that I do not like. Toni Morrison at the top of it. Maybe we'll talk about it one day if I can stomach any of her books. I respect the writing. I do not like the writing. So instead of just ending this video at 4 minutes, I'm going to take a second to talk about some of the books. So Nora and Kettle, there is a third Nora and Kettle book, or it isn't about the two of them. It takes place in the universe. I don't really know if I want to read that because I got attached to Nora and Kettle. It's the only reason I kept reading their book. I don't really want to read a book that's about like depression and stuff in the 1950s due to being Japanese American. Dragon Shadow. It was good, but meh. I'm pretty sure the main character of that book ends up getting her fire back, which I wish she kind of didn't. I like stories where it's kind of like, you don't need this special thing in order to do all of the things. You get it back as a reward, not as a necessity for the plot. Cities of Refuge and associated books. I like Conlon Cossette's writing. Uh, I don't really care that it's biblical writing. Some of the stories I don't even recognize, so it doesn't really bug me. I am going to read Counted Out with the Stars, which is it's it's the same universe but a different series. In terms of Cities of Refuge, there are two more books in that series that I have not read. I don't know if I want to read them only because they focus on the one family, and I don't know that I want to keep focusing on the one family. So, After the Devil Has Won. I loved that book series, but until it is done and I have confirmed whether or not Sia dies, I can't keep reading that series because I need that bitch to die. She's not a good person. The Watchtower. When I got to book 3, I was like, why am I still reading this? Because the whimsy of it wears off once the main character also becomes special. Death Cursed. Lots of people in Death Cursed got on my nerves. I can't keep reading that book because she's pregnant at the end of that, like, 4th one, and I'm just like, why are we doing this? Why? Soaring Flame. That book was the book with Sorame, and like he could see the colors. It's the first one's called Code of Rainbow. I don't really know that I want to keep reading that story because after the first one, the whimsy kind of weared away when he was no longer a child. It was cute because he was a child. Lost Girl, the Peter Pan book. I like the concept. I just wish there wasn't memory loss. I also read a review that said the second book is just Peter pining after Wendy, even though he's the one who caused her memory loss, for the second time at least. Someone just talk to that girl. Prism. No. The color conceit is weird. No. The Plagued States of America. I told my boyfriend about this book and he was like, what the fuck is this? I don't know how I ended up with the Plagued States of America, but to be honest with you, I'm considering going back to it. Anyway, Sword of Secrets. I don't know why I got rid of Sword of Secrets. I'm probably going to go back to that too. The Brightest Kind of Darkness, the sequels just seem annoying. It seems like this will they, won't they, we can't touch each other, but we have to touch each other in order to be happy. No. Tainted Energy. If you believe in reincarnation, right? Like that. If you believe in reincarnation and you decide to seek out your partner's future self and like you get mad at them for not acting like the self that you remember, first of all, that's mildly creepy because it's like if you like it's like you're trying to raise them if you have them as a kid, because there are books like that. If you have them as a kid, it's like you're trying to raise them to be your partner again, which is creepy and pedophilic. And also, they're not your partner. There's different circumstances to them being raised and shit like that. If you believe in reincarnation, then you should want them to move forward, and you should also move forward. Ravensmark. That was the first reverse harem book that I read. The sequels seem annoying. Bunny betrays them, and I don't feel like it. Shadow on the Wing was also another reverse harem. I am returning to Dragon's Blade because the second one seems stupid, but the third one seems awesome. I'm not returning to A Shaper's Promise. Dragon Dodgers was City of Wishes just feels like a drawn-out version of Cinderella with a lot more annoying things in it. I don't know if I'm going to read the second House Moving Castle book. There's a third book within the universe, but it is not... I don't think Hal and Sophie are in that book. First Impressions... First Impressions was also reverse harem. The reverse harem books just tire me out. Outliers is a hard maybe, because that book is the one where it's just like, this can't exist without the sequels, but I don't know if I want to go through the sequels. Dragon's Champion, which was the first book that I read for this channel. I was so excited for Dragon's Champion, but the middle of those books are so messy, so I don't know if I want to keep reading them. Yeah. The last video, Uprooted. The last video? I don't know. Video before last, something like that. I don't know if I'm going to keep reading Uprooted. Yeah, the second book doesn't seem to involve Agni and Dragon, which I'm fine with, but I don't know. The Wrath of Dawn. In the second book, I've been told that the main character does not stand up for herself, and she just keeps letting the guy who likes her dictate everything. And it's like, maybe if you told your pseudo boyfriend that you actually like this person, that there's more to what's going on than you think, maybe you guys would get along better. But whatever, I suppose. Yeah, I don't know when the next set of videos is gonna come out, but then again, when do I ever?